Sleepers Podcast. It is Monday, June 23rd. Welcome to a new week, NBA Draft Week, which is fitting. We have our NBA expert, Dion, with us today. How are you, Dion?
I'm doing good. Fun weekend. I played golf Saturday and Sunday. First time in over a year I've done the back-to-back golf thing. So that was fun. Um, I'll be honest, like I can't play 18 at the moment. I got in a car accident like a year ago and got like a mild concussion, and it kind of hurts my head to play. So it big weekend for me playing 36 holes. I gotta be honest.
Wow. Did I know you got a car accident?
Yeah, I think I called you after it happened. But I don't actually know that to be a fact. I will admit, like that night, I like my mom was like, "You need to go to the doctor." I'm like I should be okay. Like it's pretty mild. Don't remember a ton from that night. Probably needed to go to the doctor.
Yeah. I mean, we've always been a pro CTE podcast, so maybe this is just the physical embodiment of that. But well, that's fun. I'm glad you enjoyed your golf rounds. What'd you shoot?
80s.
Nice.
Playing easy courses. I will say the second one, my buddy's bringing his wife, so it's like a little bit like smaller of a course. And I'm a striper now. I saw JK swing. You know, we took a lot of heat at the golf simulator. You and I lost the first thing we've ever lost together. Although we should have won, but neither here nor there. I'm driving it further than JK very, very soon. I started lifting too.
Wow. I
Yeah.
might need some side tips on how to hit driver farther because yeah, my driver has gone where like 60-year-old men's drivers go. Like I've gone from hitting it far and solid or medium and solid to like I hit the ball like a 62-year-old man, but it goes straight and low every time.
I mean, that's all you need. So the problem is it's either going 270, 280, or it's going 20 yards right in front of me. And I would really love to be somewhere in the middle, to be honest.
Yeah, I hear you. That makes sense. Well, all right. Well, I can't tell if this is like partially a bit to make me be cart and talk golf after I give you guys shit for talking golf the whole time. I can't tell.
It's not. It's not. The problem is, and it's not Cart's fault. Well, no, it is Cart's fault because there's sometimes where I'm like, Cart, we shouldn't golf banter. We were told not to, and then he just goes, I don't care what corporate says, and he just runs off. But golf really is all I do besides this. Uh,
Well, at this point, it's become one of my favorite bits in the program. And also, I feel like all I did was make fun of you guys like once because it wasn't just golf banter. It was that you did a whole segment on what you would order at the turn on the day that I wasn't here, the first time you ever had to do topics together. And yeah, that's become my joke. But now it's interpreted as like, I told you guys you can't talk golf. That has never happened. Once again, a Carter Elliott lie.
we also, when Banks was born, the first thing we did instead of coming up with real topics was how many topics can we come up with that revolve around us making orders at the turn? To have in the back burner for like full episode topics. JK respectfully, and shout out to JK doing his job. He ended up getting a raise from it, declined all of them. JK said we weren't allowed to do any at the turn topics while you were gone.
Yeah, okay. Well, shout out to JK. I feel like JK's got this rolling right now. I appreciate that. Quick announcement here, because I don't know when or if we're even announcing this out loud. Cart should probably be with me on this, but who knows if Cart and I will ever work together again. So, quick announcement. Carter and I this week are hosting Bleacher Report's live NBA draft show, which is great. We're going to New York City. We will be live from the Bleacher Report studios with Jonathan Wasserman and Jake Fisher, and it's going to be a really fun time. What does this mean? It means no Draftapalooza, which is really sad because we love Draftapalooza, and we were 100% planning on doing Draftapalooza again. So we had to scrap that. This all came together very quickly in the last couple of weeks. We had a couple guests that we were very excited about for Draftapalooza lined up, and unfortunately, those have been informed or need to be informed that we're not doing the live show. So, more on that. If you were excited for Draftapalooza, hopefully you'll be excited for Bleacher Report's draft show as well. Was a tough decision for Carter and I will say, as crazy as that sounds, because the truth is, as this stuff grows, we have to sometimes be put in situations where we either do something that's awesome for Carter and me individually, or it's something that's fun and awesome for Sleepers as a company and as a brand. And we were bummed because Draftapalooza was probably our favorite thing that we did last year as Sleepers. It was such a success and just so fun. And we were really looking forward to building on that and trying to keep doing it year after year after year. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, I'm super pumped about this, but it just became a no-brainer. Once we got the Bleacher offer and sort of negotiated through some of the terms with it, it became something that was way too good to pass up. So this will be the first time that Carter and I are in Bleacher Report studios. Shout out to Bleacher Report for the opportunity and everybody involved on that side. Looking forward to working with Wasserman and Fisher. Those guys are like two of the very best in the industry, and this will be a new spin for us. We've never done any sort of NBA draft show for a platform like this. And I'm looking forward to seeing how Cart and I do on this. We've come from marble racing to the Final Four Red Couch, now to an NBA draft show live in studio reacting to Jace Richardson falling to the 29th pick in the draft. So that's my thoughts. I'm very excited for this. You can follow us in the Bleacher Report app and probably on Bleacher Report's YouTube channel and other places as well. But Dion, any thoughts on all of this?
I would have never let you guys turn this down, by the way. Never a world like I was going to allow you guys to turn this down for Draftapalooza. This is massive for you guys individually. You guys need to do it. I'm super hyped to watch it. I find a lot of like the ESPN draft coverage to just be like, cool, let me mute it until I watch Adam Silver walk across the stage. So I'm excited to like have something else to watch. You know what I mean? And two people along with you in Cart, like in Wasserman and Fisher, that I respect a ton and enjoy their content. So never a world I was going to allow you guys to say no.
I appreciate that. It sounds stupid, but genuinely, we did consider turning it down. We got this offer the weekend Cart and I were together at our house where we brought the families together and we were just doing like all 3 nights together. And the very first day we got this offer via text, and that was fun. We like did this whole reveal to our wives at night that we thought was going to be awesome, and honestly it didn't hit with the impact that we wanted, so that was a bummer. But yeah, we had like 5 hours where no one knew we had been offered it yet except for us, and we were just together while it was happening. And those 5 hours were very fun because we just like drank seltzers and hypothesized like, oh, should we do this? We're gonna have to go back to Braden Smith and Yaxel and tell them no. That's a bummer. And yeah, I just name dropped two guys that would have been on Draftapalooza. I was pumped about it, is the point. But no, I'm equally as pumped, if not a lot more pumped, to go to the Bleacher Report studios and do this. And big news, breaking news, there's still going to be Sleepers draft stuff on the channel. It's not going to be a live show, but you and Riley are going to hold us down basically all week doing reactions to picks and more. You want to give anybody any details on what that's going to look like?
Yeah, so I'm hoping this actually happens. Haven't heard from JK in a week on it, but I'm very locked in on it. I have question marks on everyone else involved. Make sure everyone that's listening to this tells them to stop having question marks. But me and JK spoke for like 2 hours. Haven't spoke on it since, but I think it's still happening. Basically, we Riley and I are gonna hop on a Zoom. We're gonna watch the draft. Riley will watch the draft. I'll probably be watching G and Cart. As the picks being made, we're going to make reaction videos for JK to post, hopefully subsequently with how the draft's going. That way you can get live reactions from Riley and I. We're gonna have we're doing the tell me if I'm wrong on the days. We're doing the Thursday and Friday full episodes, right?
Yeah, I think you're basically doing every recording that will go on Sleepers from Wednesday through Friday next week.
So Thursday, and then our full episodes will be built around like the winners and losers from the draft. There'll be a lot of draft content, and then we're also going to do live reactions to each trade that's made on draft night as well.
Yeah, I am kind of terrified at like how organized you guys are in response to this. So I have no idea if that means it's going to work, not work, or what, but I'm very excited to watch and consume all of that content. And I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this out loud, but I feel like people will just find this part entertaining of this. So we're going on this trip, and Cart's family's coming. So it's like I'm basically a second Elliott child this weekend as Carter, myself, Queen Meg, and Leon fly together to New York City. Sleepers take Big Apple with Sleepers family in store. And I feel like I don't know what that means, but I feel like the 3 nights we're in New York are going to be very, like, something's going to happen entertainingly to us while we try to navigate like an Elliott family trip to New York with hosting this show from the studio. And I can't wait to see what it is, you know?
I think it's phenomenal. I also think after Cart explaining how much Leon eats and you and I spending a weekend together, you eat the least of all the Elliott children.
Yeah, they're gonna be confused. They're gonna try and treat me like they do Leon and just make sure that I all my needs are met. I'll be like, I don't need chicken tenders right now. It's okay. I am very excited to get a New York slice. You can best believe that's gonna happen. And I invited my wife and said we should bring Murph. Would never bring Banks. They would never let Banks on a plane, to be honest. But I told Mal she should bring Murph and we should go. Her response was, "Hell no." So that's the state of my family versus Cart's family right now. Should we get to the show, Dion? Do you have a YouTube comment
I
today?
do have a YouTube comment. It's from a video Riley and Cart did on Paul. I don't know how to say his last name. Mbia decommitting from North Carolina State. The reason I want to bring this up is I know Cart let Riley run circles around NC State as a Carolina fan, and I want to make sure that doesn't happen. But McPherson says State really thinks they're a bag and haven't even played a game yet. Have fun with that front court. There's another word in there that I skipped. Um, State's back. It's as simple as that. That's Maybach Willie over there. He's doing big things. Let's just have respect for them. And respectfully, Caleb Wilson's just Jonathan Kuminga with hype. So
Whoa, whoa. His words, not mine.
I'm not. Actually, it's not even North Carolina thing. I'm not huge on Caleb Wilson, to be honest. I'm a massive Seth Trimble guy, though. So I think Carolina will be pretty good this year, but I think Caleb Wilson's going to disappoint a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. All right. Let's get to the Discord comments. Join the Discord. We'd love to see you in there. I haven't listened to Friday's episode, unfortunately, yet, so I don't know where they left off. Dion, do you know? Do you think they left off with the war chant comment or the one after it?
I think they got through War Chant. It's either because I'm in the middle of the comments when we started. It's either just Snacky or same old Lions.
Okay. Okay, let's start with Just Snacky then. Do you think a good season for David Mirkovich would be Kohler Bilodeau-esque? He looks to have a similar build and play style to them, and I could see a world where he develops similarly. Long term, yeah, I don't think there's much of a chance that David Mirkovich is as good as Bilodeau or even Kohler next season. Do you?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. It's weird to say out loud because like I think Billadal and Kohler leave a lot to be desired in their own right. So it's kind of crazy to say out loud, but I definitely agree with that. I don't think it'll be as good as them next year.
Bilodeau's like fringe all conference level guy. I think Kohler pretty firmly will be an all conference level guy this year who just like produces double doubles every game. I'm not expecting that type of rebounding production from Merck, but yeah, I think this archetype is exactly what you should be hoping for in a couple years if David Merkovich gets you a couple years at Illinois. Same old Lion says I was getting caught up on some of the shorts today at work and just listened to the J Bat hiring video. When are we getting the sleepers job interviews? We need these. Also, can we write in questions for Guy? His behavior in the Discord is more and more unbecoming of someone who represents sleepers. Um, have you monitored what's going on with Guy?
I haven't. Do I need to reach out to Guy?
Yeah, you've long been Guy's handler, as far as I'm concerned. Like, honestly, you might have to take responsibility for what Guy's been molded into, from what I've heard. Still love Guy. Want to make it unequivocally clear. This is a 100% pro Guy show and all of this. But yeah, I guess Guy's been saying some crazy stuff in like the baseball channel, and some people are worried about it.
Yeah, so there is an issue with Guy when it comes to baseball I was aware of. Hand up accountability, baseball season started. I didn't know baseball season started until the Devers trade happened the other day. So I haven't been as locked in on Guy. I'm assuming, I think I know what he's telling people to do. I'm going to text him right now. I'll handle this. We'll make sure Guy's on the straight and narrow for the rest of summer.
Okay, appreciate that. And by the way, I think all the Guy stuff is just because he really loves baseball. I learned that about Guy. He's probably a bigger baseball guy than he is even basketball, which is crazy. All Hail the Pope said, if you had a do-over in life but had to do a different job, what would it be?
I'll be an NBA player.
Just simple as that. Um, hmm. This is a weird one, but I've always thought it would be really fun and possibly my dream job to like write SNL sketches. Like I think I'd love to be in the Saturday Night Live writers room.
I actually think you'd be good as an actor on there too.
Oh, I appreciate that. Is it some people used to give me the Sudeikis lookalike comp. Is that part of it?
It's well that and like you legit have crazy bars when you rap.
Yeah, maybe they could use that. I could have been Lonely Island long before Lonely Island, maybe. All hail the Pope. G was right about a game seven. Explain who will win and why. Nice little NBA Finals check in for us here. Where are you at with the finals?
I like the Thunder in Game 7. I think Scott Foster will be there, and it's going to be a Scott Foster masterclass, the way it was a Scott Foster masterclass in Game 4. I also want to say one thing quickly on the NBA Finals. Hockey fans, please come outside. We were 2 games into the Stanley Cup, and everybody was talking about, oh, the NBA is boring. Look, we have overtime games. The Florida Panthers just demolished the remaining games, and we're getting a game 7. Please come outside. The NBA has elite drama too.
Yeah, it does. So I've held all series. I have the Pacers in seven, and I'm not moving off of it. And look, I think both these teams are going to be tight. Like now we're really into one game. We're not about like who has advantages head to head for a full series, right? This is one 48-minute basketball game for an NBA title. Both of these teams have an element of like, wow, we're here, right? Like they're very young. Nobody expected the Pacers. Even if you expected the Thunder, this is their first time through this. It's going to be a tight building. There's going to be all of this pressure that all these guys feel. I do genuinely believe that's a huge advantage Indiana, especially on the road. As crazy as it sounds. Like if this game is tight with 2 to 3 minutes left, I think Oklahoma City is going to feel the moment weighing on them in a way that Indiana is not. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But also, how could you possibly doubt this Indiana team's clutch gene? The fear for me is Oklahoma City could just run them out. That absolutely could happen. You have to survive the first quarter. If we get to the second quarter and it's a one possession game, I think this is going to come down to the wire and be tight. And if it's going to come down to the wire and be tight, I will take the team that has repeatedly delivered in the clutch all playoffs and Tyrese Halliburton. I also have a conspiracy on this. Ah, so I got a theory the NBA doesn't want the Thunder to win this series.
Ooh, break that down for me.
If the Thunder win this series, what it means is the next great NBA dynasty has arrived. That's the only way to interpret the Thunder winning this young with this core. And guess what? The NBA does not want Oklahoma City to be a dynasty. They want bigger markets. They want bigger superstars. They like SGA, I'm sure, but he's not the most marketable guy of all time. Nobody on this Oklahoma City team is. They've done this incredibly well. But if they win, it's going to make the Thunder the face of the league for the next 5 years. The NBA has no interest in that. I'm telling you, even if well, I don't even know what the ratings are. That's not what they want. If Indiana wins, it is the all-time feel-good underdog. Wow, what a Cinderella story. Look at the highlights. For the next 50 years, we can play all of these clutch moments. I don't think the NBA has done anything to manipulate who's won these games. I think it's a true 3-3. But I do have this gut feel just coming into game seven. If you asked everyone in the NBA offices what would they prefer, I think they would all say Indiana is the team of destiny, and I think that might play a factor.
Um, by the way, Guy responded to me. He said he'll be on the straight and narrow moving forward. I got to monitor when the Dodgers play the Padres moving forward. So I'm going to add some calendar stuff for that. That way I'm around. Um, I'd argue that they want the Thunder to win for the same reasons you're saying they don't want them to win. I think you can do the flash in the pan thing with Oklahoma City the way you did with Denver and Milwaukee, and then quickly move off of them. But if they lose this time, I think the reason you want them to win is because if they lose, they're gonna go get somebody. And they have the assets to go get somebody and then really like dominate the league next year. And I think if they win, I think they just sit on their hands. And I don't think this team's actually good enough to compete against like if some of the bigger markets really make moves, I think Oklahoma City would be stuck.
But see, if Oklahoma City gets someone, I think two things happen. Number one, the NBA finds them more marketable if they got a real superstar. And
That's
number two, other bigger markets would then go back to trying to build super teams to beat an OKC team wins. Right now, dog, my Pistons think we can win a title next year. Like it's the most wide open the league has ever been. That's like okay, but it's not great for the league, right? The league wants like star power. And if we are going to get star power, I think it would need to be forced by people feeling like they need star power to beat Oklahoma City. Right now, everyone thinks they can beat Oklahoma City without doing anything. And a shift would be good for the league, I think. We'll see. One more comment quickly. All hail the Pope. Can't have a day without Kentucky comments. So, Greg, if Lowe has a great year, what is his stat line? Uh, like 15-5, I think would be a great year for Jalen Lowe. And then he wanted Carter to answer this, but what's Jaden Quainton's stat line if he has a great year?
I don't think it's like terribly impressive, but I think like 12-7, 4 steals and blocks.
Yeah,
But like best defender in the country.
great year. All right, that's the comment. Shout out to the Discord. Great job. We're brought to you by NBA 2K Lab. Go to NBA2KLab.com. Play their mini games. Their GeoGuessr game is one of our favorites. We have it featured on our ad reads and all of our short videos. NBA 2K Lab constantly making great content that helps you get the most out of your NBA 2K playing experience. College Football 26 coming out soon. Some gameplay reveals have been dropped, and NBA 2K Lab will have a bunch of things that will help you optimize your college football playing experience as well. Go to NBA2KLab.com to see it all. Let's get to the pro. One of my favorite features every single year is the anonymous confidential articles. And this year, The Athletic put together one for the NBA draft. So we went through all of the top prospects in the NBA draft and basically asked college coaches and NBA scouts to anonymously give their scouts on all of the biggest name players in the NBA draft. It's in the New York Times, also just in the Athletic. I encourage everyone to go read this. It's a really, really awesome, fun read. And you get some brutally honest takes on a lot of different players. I'll start broadly with you, Dion, and we can maybe just say if either one of us had a big major reaction to anything in this. And then we can go player by player and sort of pick out 1 to 2 sentences from each and maybe play lie detector test, fact checker test if we believe some of these anonymous quotes or not. What was your broad takeaway from the Anonymous Scouts article this year?
I feel like the my broadest takeaway, I think this is the hardest anonymous scouts have been on college players since the article came out. It's extremely, extremely nitpicky, extremely nitpicky. And these are guys that in my opinion, have some of the most tape that they have of any like collegiate class out there too. And I think it lends to a point that I've always had when it comes to college players. The longer you're in college, I think it actually kind of hurts your draft stock to an extent because then this is what happens. And they just get too nitpicky and strike while the stove's hot.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I do think like harsh critiques in here, which is part of why I like these articles, but I think you're right. It feels like we're getting more and more outwardly negative on a lot of these guys. I know we ripped the Jace Richardson stuff on Friday last week, but I don't know. We'll go through some of these and they might sound a little harsh as we go, but let's start with Cooper Flagg at the top. So again, there's a bunch of college head coaches and NBA scouts. I'm not even going to specify who's saying what because I feel like I'm just going to be repeating like generic guy the whole time. But it's either coming from an NBA scout or college coaches, whether head or assistant, that played these players last year. Summarizing a couple of Cooper Flagg comments. Cooper's about the right stuff. He's a good dude. He comes to play. He's got swag. He's a likable dude. There's no punk in him. None of that bullshit entitlement to him. He plays the right way. Are these just generic Caucasian tropes or are these accurate to Cooper Flagg to you?
I don't know how much swag Coop has. But outside of that, I think it's all very accurate. I mean, Coop has some swag, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't call Cooper AJ DeBanter like the swaggiest number one pick we've ever had.
Yeah, swag. He has swag in a different way. I feel like he just has the competitive edge to me that embodies swagger, even if it's not like flash. Yeah, I just laughed. Like I felt like all of these scouts had a lot of praise for Cooper Flag, obviously. Some call them even a generational talent in here, but none of them could get through like a 3 sentence overview without going the Caucasian trope route too, which is kind of just a fascinating part of the whole Cooper Flag experience. Ace Bailey. This is where we get interesting. I think he's a pretty one-sided ball player. I don't think there's a whole lot of desire on defense. There are questions about how good his feel for the game is, how locked in he is. The playmaking, I feel in part, is not there. He's a fun-loving kid who's always got a smile on his face. They say he acts like a kid, tremendous talent, but incredibly young. But he better get to the right environment. If he gets in a dysfunctional situation, he could be out of the league in 5 years.
That's harsh. The latter half of that is harsh. By the way, uh, acts like a kid. He is a kid. So correct. Like he he acts like a 19-year-old. So I think that's harsh too. The beginning half of it, I completely agree with. I've always been on the side of like, I don't see the defensive stuff that everybody else does. I see the upside, but I don't see the willingness to buy into the upside. Um, I've started referring to him as Ace Kuminga. I think there's a ton of similarities between the two. Um, and yeah, I don't see it the same way everybody else does with Ace Bailey.
I want to go to Will Riley next. This is from an assistant coach for a college team that played Illinois this year. Came on at the end of the year. One of the biggest floppers in the league. Sticks his legs out like he got shot on every attempt. I think he's going to be a good role player, but he's so young. He's got to fill out, grow into his body, get a little tougher. Deep, deep shooter. He can get to the rim. He's just not the toughest bear in the woods right now.
What's with the young comments? What draft has just not, like everybody's young? That's the NBA draft. I don't get
Is this guy speaking in haikus? Like, why
it.
is he speaking completely like metaphorically every time? He's not the toughest bear in the woods. Acts like he got shot every shot attempt. This is what you're talking about. These guys are way too comfortable being anonymous right now.
Way too comfortable. Way too comfortable. It's ridiculous. Also, like, stop calling them young. We know they're young. That's the NBA draft.
That's just also like not a good eval of Will Riley, is it? Like, I never watched Will Riley and thought he's not tough or he flops.
I also don't think NBA teams have any issues with players flopping if that's what you're going to tell them. I'm sure the Thunder would love to have another SGA.
Yeah, I kind of honestly, are we sure he doesn't think Kasparis is Will Riley? Are we just making sure? All right, let's do a couple of the guards real quick. Dylan Harper, he's definitely two. I haven't seen all the international guys, but there's no American I'm taking over Harper. Another one said, I don't think he has a real high ceiling, but I think he'll play for a real long time. A college head coach said he's as good as anyone we've played against, including Markelle Fultz and Jabari Smith. Not as good as Cunningham or Anthony Edwards, but as good as those other guys. Are you fine with all these comments?
As good as anybody we played against, besides other good guys we played against.
By the way, that one was literally identified as must because someone went through and figured out he's the only coach who played all of those guys. So shout out to Musselman for all of these quotes.
Muss is like, yeah, he's as good as anybody we played against, besides the other two really good guys that we played against. That's a crazy quote.
Here's a positive one. Jeremiah Fears. I'm a fan. I really like him. After Cooper Flag, he would be my pick. He has a little bit of that in terms he can get downhill where the game is played today. Shooting has to get better, but when the redraft is done, I'll be surprised if he's not one of the best three in this class.
I could see that. I could see that. What is just out of curiosity, what's Man Man's? Because I think Man Man might be the second or third best player in this
I don't know
class.
if I've done man man yet. I've only seen forwards and guards, so maybe the centers is coming out later today.
Man Man's interesting. I feel like he's probably the most polarizing player in this draft at the moment.
Yeah, I think so too. Also polarizing Yegor Demin and Kasparis, but it's hard to kind of even lay those out because there's such shifts in them. Some of the scouts are like, we love this guy, and some of the scouts are like, we hate this guy and wouldn't touch him. So, anyways, go read the full article. That's those are the ones I wanted to get through. But shout out to the New York Times and the Athletic for putting together the anonymous scout. Doing that topic made me want to do this topic with you. Now let's pretend we are anonymous scouts. So we're obviously not. We are on record. I'm asking you to do something you and I normally wouldn't do, which is don't worry about people who could clip this and come after us for things we say. But Let's preface the whole conversation. We're going to pretend that we are anonymous scouts, being as brutally honest as we want with players in the NBA draft. And let's go through some of our favorites and anonymously, non anonymously evaluate them. Are you game for this?
I love this. I also want to anonymously be referred to as Brian Ralph for the extent of this anonymous video.
So I think this is a new loophole. I think we could just say every video we want to be anonymous.
Yeah.
And then if people don't honor that we asked to be anonymous, that's on them for not honoring. We no, that wasn't me. That was I was anonymous.
Those were actually our sources.
Yeah, right. All right, so let's just start at the top. Let's be anonymous. Cooper Flag.
I anonymously don't think his ceiling's as high as everybody else's.
Wow. Okay, for the sake of time, I want to be like quick on these. Literally, you get to give 1 to 2 sentences like the anonymous scouts do. Do you want to
Okay.
add any other sentence to that, or is it just that?
He'll be a great second fiddle. He's not going to be your franchise player.
Okay. Anonymously, Cooper Flag. The competitiveness is great. The clutch gene isn't. Make sure you win the game before the final 30 seconds if Cooper Flag is your go-to guy. Dylan Harper.
Young. No, I'm just kidding. I think Dylan Harper has the most game in this class. It's just a matter of like how locked in he'll be.
Anonymously, he was sick 90% of last year. Or was he opting out? Was he ducking certain games? I have some questions about the validity of the sickness that plagued Dylan Harper for 3.5 months last year.
He was anonymously sick.
He was anonymously sick. Ace Bailey.
Ace Bailey, he will be the worst pick in the top 10.
This kid, the person, is someone I want zero part of if my job is on the line. The basketball player, I 100% am game for, but you are drafting a human being, and everything on that side is scary to me with Ace Bailey. Con Knipple.
This one's short and sweet, safest option outside of Cooper Flag in the draft.
Mm. Uh, Anonymously, if Khan is taken in the top 5 of this draft, that GM should lose their job. Khan is getting an enormous boost from being a role player next to Cooper Flag. His job was as easy as any players in the country last season. He played between Man, Cooper Flag, and a bunch of great 23-year-old role players. And if an NBA team wants him to be a first or second option, I'd be terrified. Trey Johnson?
I don't know. On like that's the only way to describe him. That's the only way. I just don't know. On one hand, I think he's like a bigger, taller Jeremiah Fears, which I adore. And on the other hand, I'm like, volume shooter and inconsistent.
Yeah, I would only have praise for Trey Johnson, so I don't even want to do anonymously. I think he's great. VJ Edgecombe?
I'm good. I'm good.
Anonymously, 95% of the good things I've seen are just dunky dunks and summer Team Bahamas highlights. It didn't translate to winning at all at Baylor. He never led his team to anything. He's a highlight reel player, not a winning player.
Ooh, can I add something on him? I
Yeah.
just when you said Bahamas, this I want to anonymously say he will play for the Bahamas, not Team USA.
Anonymously, he could go by Valdez and he goes by VJ. Don't draft him. Jeremiah Fears.
Sneaky gonna be one of the best players in this draft. And it might not be so sneaky anymore. I think everybody's starting to trend towards that.
Yeah. Anonymously, the best thing that ever happened to him was getting out of Illinois and going to Oklahoma. This kid has now been seen for what he really will be instead of trying to fit into something that has churned up and spit out a lot of different players. He went to the Jeremiah Fears show and it was the best thing for him. Yegor Demon.
Ugh. Uh, Tall Ricky Rubio. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Ooh. Uh, Tantalizing prospect. BYU got significantly better when they took responsibility away from him. And that would scare me in the lottery. I don't think you're drafting Yegor Demon to be the role he ended up at BYU. Kasparis Yakashonis.
Anonymously slow, really slow. I struggle to see him staying in front of anybody at the NBA level. I struggle to see him getting around anybody at the NBA level, but also anonymously has some Luka Doncic to him that I can't get out of my head. So I also might take him 1-1.
Anonymously, a sloppy, unorganized basketball player with one go-to move that is the worst shot in basketball. Anonymously, a defensive liability. Anonymously, uh, a a guy who mysteriously hurt his forearm, and we never heard why and what happened. But anonymously, there were kind of behind the scenes reports that something weird happened at practice, but anonymously, we never heard because we kept it anonymous. Anonymously, I think he's a total bust in the NBA. I really do. Let's do Jace Richardson.
Anonymously short, needs shoes. I anonymously want Jace to send me what he had inside of his shoes that helped him grow 2.5 inches because I want them in my shoes. Ace Bailey, I want whatever you had in your shoes where you went from like 6'7" to 6'11 because I want those too. But also not anonymously, the most skilled prospect in this class.
Danny Wolf. I want to do Danny Wolf and Will Riley, and then we'll stop.
Danny Wolf, tantalizing, polarizing, probably gonna flame out though.
Anonymous. Excuse me, I'm choking because I don't want to say this. Anonymously, nothing that he did in college translates to the NBA. Danny Wolf needs to be a role player. Danny Wolf needed everything catered to him at Michigan, and it was. There were ups and downs because anonymously, Danny Wolf can't score. Danny Wolf has a horrible shot. He has a slow release. He doesn't even jump on his jumpers. He's a limited athlete. Defensively, he's nowhere near as good as the credit that he gets. His decision making is questionable for all of the highlight reel passes that he has. Anonymously, unless he's running your second unit, it will not work for Danny Wolf. And lastly, Will Riley.
I think Will Riley could be out of the league before his rookie contract's up and the MVP in Europe. I also think Will Riley might win Six Man of the Year 4 times. I don't think Will Riley has a ton of in between.
Anonymously, we don't know what Will Riley can fully do because Will Riley was asked to back up Benham Rickhouse for 3.5 months. Anonymously, at all times, this was the most gifted offensive player on Illinois last year, and not for 1 second was he treated like it. His scoring bursts came out of nowhere, and Brad Underwood seemed surprised by them. He was a witness to Kasparis Yakashonis' team. And that didn't work for Illinois, and it didn't work for Will Riley. He may surprise everybody pleasantly when he gets to the league.
I anonymously want to say I would also start Hun Rickhouse over Will Riley. Free my dog, Hun Rizzy.
I anonymously never want to do this again. I feel like that's going to come back to bite. Topic 3, I want to come up with one surprise stat prediction for each of our favorite college basketball teams. We can go through some and just fire some bold prediction type things here. What I'm after here, you could literally give me like player scores X amount of points per game. You could give me like team has 3 guys who do blank. Anything you want, but rooted in a statistical outcome is what I am after. Let's start with Kentucky.
So this is a team or individual stat? Or
I think it could be either. It could be either. I'm probably going to jump back and forth through both as we go through these.
okay. I think Jalon Lowe leads them in scoring substantially.
Ooh,
Like, like I think Jalon Lowe averages 18 or 19 points. I think Ortega drops from his 17 last year to around 13-ish.
I like that. I am going to say they only have 2 players above 9 points per game.
Is that Jalon and Ortega?
Jalan and Ortega, but both of them are really high, like 15 or 16 a game, and the rest of the team is all like 7 to 8 points a game role players. I think we see a two superstar heavy approach for Kentucky this year. Let's do UConn next. I feel like we haven't given Dan Hurley's team enough love lately.
Um, Braylon Mullins. Braylon Mullins, I think Braylon Mullins averages 14, 15 points a game. I think Braylon Mullins is going to wind up being the best player in this backcourt.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to surprise people with this. I think Terrace Reed averages a double double this year.
Ooh.
If he just plays 25 minutes, I think he should average like 10 and 10. And that'll probably be a rough year for me, but I want to get out in front of this by saying I think it actually happens.
I want to add one. Charity softball game, Terrace Reed, no errors this year.
Very nice. Illinois,
Andre, 23 points per game.
that's insane.
I think they have less scores than it seems, and I think Andre is going to be the guy that goes and gets them a ton of buckets.
I'm in between two here. One, I think Toma Visic averages 3.5 assists a game. Like I think they're going to use his playmaking more, especially if there are any issues with Petrovic. But yeah, okay, Dion. I think Illinois has three guys that shoot 40% from three this year.
I can see that Andre, Big T.
Andre, Big T, and I think Humrizzi bounces back.
Yeah, you know what? My dog Humrizzi, 10 minutes per game. Three.
How about Michigan?
um, Elliot Cadeau. It's something with Cadeau. I got the 12 and 7. I think Elliot has a real good year.
Okay. Um, this is tough for me. This is kind of a cop out. I bet Michigan doesn't have one player that plays 30 minutes a game next year. I think
Okay.
they're going to go the Michigan State approach of getting everyone minutes, keeping everyone happy, keeping everyone fresh, like 28 minutes a game. And it's going to annoy me when Will Cheddar's playing over Yaxel some, but that might happen. Michigan State.
Um, Cohen Carr. Cohen Carr breakout. Like I don't know what it equates to, like stats
Yeah,
wise,
give
but
me a number for the guy that averaged 8 and 3 last year.
19 and 6, 60% from the field, a lot of free throws.
Oh, God. Um, Jeremy Fears. Ooh. Jeremy Fears leads this team in scoring.
Oh.
Yeah, and assists. He's the best player on the team, but Jeremy Fears leads the team in scoring is my bold prediction. Duke.
Um, I think I think Isaiah Evans doesn't have like a crazy big breakout year. And I think that surprises people. I still think he's a very like solid player, but I think the expectation is he's the number one option. I think he winds up being like the third or fourth option. Probably still averages double digits, like 11 or 12 a game.
Okay, I'm going Big Pat is awesome. Big Pat like averages 8 rebounds a game or something, and is just the starting center and really good on this team. How about BYU?
Uh, I don't know what could surprise us with BYU because I feel like AJ being great is just him being AJ. Richie B is just being Richie. Maybe you don't see a crazy big leap from Rob Wright. Maybe he averages like 9 and 5.
I'm gonna say Richie Saunders scores more than AJ DeBonsa. That's my only stat prediction, but I think both are like in the 20s and incredible. And our last one, let's do Purdue.
Um, I don't think this is that crazy. I'll be honest, this is a cop out like most of mine have been. But I think Braden has an uptick in scoring and a downtick in assists. Like I think you see Braden go from averaging 15 and 9 to somewhere closer to like 20 and 6 or 7 with the addition of Meyer.
Okay, I don't hate that. I'm gonna say uh, this is the number one 3-point shooting team next year. I think given the added stuff they've gotten that will help some of their guys even get more less attention defensively. I think this team is the number one 3-point shooting team. Maybe they shoot something crazy like 45% from three. One big thing presented by NBA 2K Lab. What do you have, Dion?
One big thing, work. That's what I've been doing. Been in the gym every morning, right when the doors open. Not seeing any results, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. That's for down the line. This is the summer of work. Simple as that.
Okay, I like that. Now I want to flip mine because this would just be a funny response. My one big thing, ordering pizza. I've also been on a health journey, but like every now and then you just gotta like go order a pizza. Last night I found myself in a great spot. Wife went to a happy hour with some of her girlfriends. I was in charge of the kiddos. I'm putting them both down after playing 36 holes. And the whole time, as I'm getting through this, we're playing in the backyard. I'm feeding Banks a bottle. I'm watching Murph. All that was on my mind was in like 45 minutes, I'm ordering a pizza. I got the kids down. I ordered the pizza.